Well, I'm a clump of cells. Can you abort me?
I wish I could, actually. Keep that in the video, please.
You think that I should come to a violent end and be dismembered, limb from limb? Hey, Charlie Kirk, come out here and do this. I challenge Charlie to chop.
I would love to see Charlie Kirk.
I'm gonna test him. Be like, would you get your butt out here? That'll be my challenge. I challenge Charlie and Candace, get their butts out there and chop. Oh, well, thank you for just erasing my artwork. Please don't steal my stickers. And you can take one, but you don't get the right to steal my stuff, just like you don't get the right to kill babies. That's how you stop vandalism. We're gonna go invite the protesters, hopefully come in and listen to my presentation or ask a question in a calm, reasonable format. If y'all wanna come into my speech, you can ask any question you want before I even give my presentation. No, eugenics would be, eugenics, sir, on the phone. Just put him on mute. Once conception has already occurred, you were spit on?
I was 3 times.
Were they wearing a mask and then pulling down the mask to spit on you?
It was the students you posted on your Instagram story, the one who said he was a Satanist who wanted to eat babies.
Oh, and the one who wanted to sleep with my father? Wanted to f my father?
He would eat my children.
We're making that video and I'm sending it to my dad.
What about a 14-year-old girl who's raped and is pregnant? What do you think she should do with that baby that she has?
Do you think rapists deserve the death penalty? Do you think someone who rapes a 14-year-old girl should be put to death?
Yeah.
I would say no. I would say that no human being should be put to death no matter how horrible the crimes. But in America, we actually have laws that say that rape isn't as bad of a crime. I don't know how they legally say it, but it doesn't constitute the death penalty, the federal death penalty or the state death penalty. But yet in all the pro-life laws or even abortion laws that are passed, we always say that there should be an exception that children conceived in rape should be put to death. And I would say that doesn't make sense because our laws say that rapists shouldn't be given the death penalty, but most laws say that children conceived in rape and sexual assault should be given the death penalty. I don't think that makes any sense. But no, I don't think that the crimes of your father or the terrorism that your father may commit justifies killing the child.
So what about that 14-year-old though that has to go
Don't you
through
think
that full term? Yeah. Maybe not full term. That has to carry.
That's
that
one of the
long.
crimes he needs to answer for. Absolutely.
Don't you think? Why are we punishing this 14-year-old girl by making her keep this baby in her?
Don't you think she should be given the choice of what she should be able to do with her body in the situation she is in?
We need to do a better job as a society, pro-life and pro-choice, of standing alongside women who've been sexually assaulted, because I don't think we do enough to support women. I've been very clear on that and I publicly advocate for that. But I don't think that the choice to end the life of a unique, whole living human being should be a choice that any of us get to make, no matter the wrongs that are done to us. I think she is strong enough, she is capable enough with our support to carry that child to term as long as possible.
No 14-year-old should have to do that.
No 14 should have to either. I fully agree with you. No
pregnancy.
14-year-old should become pregnant. No 14-year-old should be raped.
Why are
Absolutely.
you forcing her to carry this baby?
Why are you mad at me? Why aren't you mad at the rapist who's forced her to become pregnant?
I am mad at the rapist.
No, when you talk about the pro-life movement, people here get mad at the pro-life movement, but really we should be mad at the rapist.
I think we should be mad at both.
I think we can be mad at both.
So I'm equal to a rapist?
No, that's not what we're saying.
You're mad at both. Yeah. You come to my speech tonight, ask me any question. I let pro-choice people ask questions before I even talk.
7 p.m.
So you can ask me any question you want. 7 p.m.
I'd rather not spend my time on it if you're just not hearing what I'm saying.
What am I not hearing?
This 14-year-old girl should not be forced to carry this baby in her for this long.
Is it a baby?
She should be able to
Is it a baby?
terminate. If she chooses to associate it being a baby with her, she can. That's up to the woman.
So the baby has
woman's right.
So it's like the baby has pronouns. Because you just said if she chooses to associate it, it's a baby. But if she chooses not to associate, what is it?
It's a fetus, which is actually the medical term.
Which is Latin for what? What's fetus Latin
Girl,
for? Young
I don't
one.
know.
You didn't come from a fetus, you once were one. You once were a zygote. You once were an embryo. You once were a fetus.
Everybody was a
Well, why do you want to call it a fetus? Why did you call it a fetus if she doesn't want to keep the baby, but then it's a baby if she decides to keep it? What?
Because it's her association.
So
the
value she places on the child, you're saying,
yeah,
determines whether or not that child has a fundamental right to live.
No, that's
Yes.
this child, which is a clump of cells, which is a fetus.
Well, I'm a clump of cells. Can you abort me?
I wish I could, actually. So yeah, keep that in
you
the
would
video,
subscribe.
please.
You think that I should come to a violent end and be dismembered, limb from limb?
It's a fetus. This fetus is.
But it's a child if you want it. But it's a child if you want it.
Yeah, because it's the woman's right to choose what this fetus, what this cell means.
How we view other human beings changes whether or not.
But
they're
it's not
valuable.
anything yet. It's really not born yet. It's not. It can't live on its own.
It actually can, and after 21 weeks.
Yeah,
and 5 days.
medical help.
So would you agree with me?
With support.
At 21 weeks and 5 days, abortion should be restricted because when a child can survive outside the womb.
Can it survive on its own without any medical help?
Well, so if you're using that logic, we should be able to abort newborns. We should be able to kill newborns, right? Because newborns can't survive on their own.
They're not out of the womb yet.
So you believe I have a magical vagina?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, you provide all the nutrients for this child.
My vagina doesn't provide any nutrients.
Why should this 14-year-old have to decide, not have the decision to make?
But when does it get rights? When does a child have rights? Because you keep kind of going all over. I wish I started the whiteboard. You keep going all over. Because you said, well, it's not a child because it needs medical intervention to survive. And I said, well, what about child after birth? And a newborn needs intervention to survive, right? It needs the mother and father to care for the child.
In the fetus, it should be the woman's decision.
So based on your location,
in the womb,
based on your location determines your value.
Yeah.
So if I'm born in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this beautiful, very rich area, do I have more value than if I'm born in Wellsburg, West Virginia? Because I'm showing you have a philosophically inconsistent argument.
It's not philosophical,
yes,
though.
You have a philosophically inconsistent
rights. This is women's right to choose.
To kill a baby.
Their decision.
You're arguing for women's rights to kill a baby.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and you believe
if it's in their womb and if it's a part of them, they should get the choice.
To kill a child.
I don't know what you don't understand.
What do you think a uterus is supposed to do? What do you think the purpose of a uterus is?
Girl, I don't.
Do you know why women have uteruses and men don't have uteruses? Women have uteruses because every month our body gets ready to host a human life. That's literally the job of the uterus.
So you think all women should have to do that?
No, what I'm saying is the child is exactly where he or she is supposed to be. The child isn't like this foreign alien that comes into the woman's body and says, hey, I'm parking it for 9 months no matter what you want. Except in cases of sexual assault, a woman has knowingly engaged in a behavior that could lead to a natural consequence of creating unique human life.
That doesn't mean she should be forced to have.
Well, don't you think all decisions have consequences?
Yeah, and she should have the decision to make her own.
I don't think women should have the right to choose many things. Americans get the right to choose a lot of things, but I don't think you have the right to choose. Your right to choose stops when what you want to do with your body harms someone else's body. Do you have the right to go to a pulmonary ward at the hospital and start smoking cigarettes? Can you go?
That is not the
What would be wrong with doing that? Because it's your body. If you want to pollute your lungs, what's wrong with that? Because your body, your actions are going to harm someone else's body.
This is not its own little body.
Yes, it is.
A clump of cells.
This clump of cells is a clump of cells like I'm a clump of cells. And this clump of cells is a unique living human being. I know it's hard. Science is hard. Philosophy is hard. I'm just saying, you're taking a philosophically inconsistent position to justify abortion.
Girl,
just admit it. Just admit it. You support abortion, even though it's a human being, even though it's alive. You think we get to decide what human beings get to live and die. You take a discriminatory stance.
Because it's not its own human being yet.
Yes, they're free. You take one each. One each, please. No, one each, please. Please don't steal my stickers. And you can take one.
You're welcome to one. You want one.
But you don't get the right to steal my stuff, just like you don't get the right to kill babies. That's how you stop vandalism. Where are you chalking? I saw it.
Do y'all want to go and show your...
What? Wait, where's my chalk?
She's proving that a preborn child is a parasite, Kristan.
A preborn child cannot be a parasite. It's a member of the same species.
parasite.
And it has a symbiotic relationship because the mother derives benefits. When a parasitic relationship, the host doesn't derive any benefits. We know from breast cancer researchers that it actually, some types of breast cancer are actually lowered by women who become pregnant. What do you want me to chalk, Lydia? Do not get my butt, Kevin.
I'm on the front side of you.
Who keeps erasing all the pretty chalk work?
Kristan, what is today?
National Pro-Life Chalk Day. We're here at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and so many people have come out. They're so excited to hear me speak. They've been chalking all day and erasing the pro-life chalk. So I'm just fixing things. You know, I like to fix things. There, preborn women's lives matter. Good. Fixed. Corrected. Yeah, they keep covering it. It's funny, it's like all white girls covering the black preborn lives matter stuff. That's the real irony of the whole situation. White people covering black preborn lives matter. Got it. But it doesn't matter, you know. When it comes to the left, abortion's always.
Matter more.
While Planned Parenthood kills 365 black children every day and admits that they locate themselves 80% of the time in minority walkable neighborhoods, do you think that's racist?
I love dead babies. They're delicious.
Do you eat dead babies, sir?
Yeah, all the time.
Are you a Satanist?
Oh yeah.
You're a Satanist?
Oh yeah.
Do you think abortion is a satanic ritual?
Yeah, it's sick as fuck.
Do you wish you had a uterus so you could commit an abortion? Yeah, absolutely we are. Yeah, I mean, I just got you on film saying you're a Satanist and you like to eat babies, so of course I'm filming it for any future job prospects you might have. Let's see. Oh, look there. Wonderful. Why does it bother you that there's pro-life chalk? Why are you erasing pro-woman with your water? What bothers you about being pro-woman, ma'am? What bothers you about some sidewalk chalk? It shouldn't really bother you, right? Free speech? Hi. All right, what do I want to write? Oh, let's see. Hamas equals Planned Parenthood? Lydia, would you be mad if I typed that? I mean, Hamas chops off babies' heads and Planned Parenthood does it every day. So, all right, let's do that. Actually, it was Planned Parenthood's founder, Lothrop Stoddard, who actually trained the Klan and the Nazis. Oh, well, thank you for just erasing my artwork. I thought we had like free speech and free artwork. What about free speech? Don't you think I have the right to free speech? But why are you erasing my speech? Yeah, you did. You literally just vandalized my speech. You just silenced my speech. Do you think you did anything wrong when you silenced someone else's speech? So it's okay because it's a public university to silence someone's speech.
It's my university.
Yeah, so I'm a taxpayer. Okay. Like all of our money goes to these schools. So why would you feel like your speech is more important than my speech? Well, you obviously did because you erased my speech.
I did not.
You did erase my speech.
I did not say that.
It's all water where my speech
I'm not
was.
To engage
just so,
because that's what y'all want us to do.
Well, you
so
are engaging right now because you erased
so I'm stopping right there.
Well, Hamas does equal Planned Parenthood, so I guess it doesn't change my message. I'll just go over here. Hamas, here. Equals. You're going to erase it too.
Stop, just stop.
Oh, you're going to stop. Oh, wow, look at this.
What does Hamas have to do with abortion?
Because Hamas chopped off babies' heads. 40, excuse me, please don't touch me. Excuse me, can you get out of my way? Wow. Wow, she's not even letting me chalk. Like you act like this is hurting my feelings. Planned Parenthood, I'm gonna get it out because once I start something, like abolishing abortion, I don't stop.
How about you plan a diet, Cruella de Vil?
Oh, and here comes the fat jokes. Like I've never heard that before. Thank you so much, sir. Your liberal sensibilities are just so kind. Well, it's true. I can't even get the word out. Can't even get the word out.
Are you against free speech?
He's obviously against. This actually isn't. This is actually the truth. Hamas beheaded 40 babies, and Planned Parenthood ends the lives of. You can go to Twitter. I have all my sources over there if you want. Yeah, cite your source. Planned Parenthood kills about 1,000. 2,500 babies a day. We know from. My dad didn't say that. You need to get some better comebacks, sir.
Fuck your dad. 'Cause your dad's gay.
No. I mean, these are the, make sure you get the white people saying the Black Preborn Lives Matter sign. Lydia, did I do what you wanted? Hi, you have a question?
You said you were against the death penalty, like in general.
Yeah.
What can you say why again? I missed your
Yeah,
point.
I mean, I used to be for the death penalty, and then, you know, there have been cases throughout our history where the death penalty was handed down and it was wrong. And so to err on the side of caution, I think we don't give the death penalty. I'm not saying that prisoner's life should be like awesome and they should, you know, get out of prison and not spend the life. I think they forfeited their right to a life outside of those prison walls. I just think I would rather err on the side of caution and preserve human life when it's innocent.
No, I totally get it. But what is your personal opinion on like what should happen to those like rapists, terrorists, murder? I'm pretty sure like you and Ben Shapiro disagree on that, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm pretty sure I disagree with like my husband on that.
Okay, yeah. But like, what do you personally think should happen to those like those type of crimes, like
Well, I think they
terrorism?
should be in Alaska drilling oil, so I stopped giving my money to Saudi Arabia for oil.
I like that.
I think we can.
I would support that.
Yeah.
Instead of the death
And then if
penalty.
they, you know, aren't convicted, if we find their evidence, and so we can pay them for all their service, but then we haven't killed them.
Okay.
And I can have cheaper gas and diesel. I don't know. That's just one policy prescription. I don't know.
Y'all have questions?
Do y'all have other questions?
Yeah.
Wait, is that why they're sitting?
Yeah, they're sitting on our chalk. My chalk is so offensive that they have to sit on it.
that
Oh no,
doing
watch me. I'll go out there, try to chalk, and they'll come and like erase it as I'm
I'll
chalking.
protect you. I will.
Here, let's try again.
I will
Yeah,
let's do
protect
it.
you.
I'm bored.
Go.
Can I take some stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, take all you want, sir.
I love free merch. Dude, this is like, that's actually kind of crazy.
Hey, Charlie Kirk, come out here and do this. I challenge Charlie to
I
chalk.
would love to see Charlie Kirk.
I'm gonna text him, be like, would you get your butt out here? That'll be my challenge. I challenge Charlie and Candace, get their butts out here and chalk. That's when the school will burn down. I'm like easy apparently. Planned Parenthood is racist. There we go. Whew, I got through it without somebody getting rid of it.
How do I get more involved? You know what I mean?
Join the students of the Tar Heels for Life group.
Really?
Yeah, they have a group here.
Oh, yeah, right.
Alicia can give you all the information.
I would
Yeah.
love to get into the group.
That look good. I'm a terrible chalker. They do so good. They do like their block lettering. Ugh, it's fine. That's fine. All right, I go back to my table.
Tyler from LI got spit on while she was writing.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. Hope to see you tonight. Oh, look, it already got destroyed. It lasted 30 seconds. Free speech is hard, I know. Free speech hurts feelings. But when we're talking about abortion, you're saying we think the child may suffer. Therefore, it's justifiable to insert digoxin into the child's heart and cause a cardiac arrest, or use a sulfur clamp and dismember the child in a D&E abortion. That is also wrong. And in fact, you could argue may be more painful than drowning, because the child, their brain isn't fully formed when the D&E abortion
Exactly. If their brain isn't fully
happens.
formed, how do they feel pain? How do they feel pain?
Throughout the
How
whole
do they
body.
feel
The
pain?
child- At 12 and a half weeks, the New England Journal of Medicine, by a pro-choice and pro-life scholar 2 years ago, found that they believe at 12 and a half weeks, a fetus, a child in the womb, can feel pain. And in fact, they feel more pain than we do, because the child's brain is not formed. Well, excuse me, you asked me if the child feels pain. I'm answering your question. Because the child in the womb doesn't have a fully formed brain yet, the child is not able to localize the pain. And so when the abortionist goes in a D&E abortion, for example, at 16 or 14 weeks, and dismembers the child, they can't tell where the pain is coming from. They feel it throughout their whole body. And this is from the New England Journal of Medicine, from a pro-choice and pro-life.
You're pro-life, correct?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if we stop the access of getting an abortion, then that person, she's gonna get an abortion regardless. So she's
An
gonna
unsafe one that's going to kill her and the baby.
That's
That's actually
somewhere.
proven. It's actually statistics.
She's
No,
gonna
that's
go
actually
somewhere
not
and get
true.
it done regardless, illegally, in a
That's
more
not
dangerous
true.
way. That's gonna kill her
That's not
and the
true.
baby.
That's not
Two people. Two people.
That's not true.
One human being. one human being and one fetus.
How can two people be in one human being?
What?
You just said two people, one human being.
Let me
They're two
talk.
humans.
I said one human being, one fetus. It's not a baby.
You said
yet.
two people.
I said one human
take it. You
being
said
and
two
one
people.
fetus.
A fetus? Do you know what fetus means in Latin? Do you know what the Latin for fetus is?
Oh, go ahead and tell me.
Young one.
I don't think linguistics matters.
No, I'm just saying, we use the word fetus.
Because it was a Latin word.
We use the word fetus to dehumanize the child in the womb. We use all of these words like they're a clump of cells. We don't even like to use the word abortion. We say reproductive rights or health care. Why? Because we don't like to talk what it is.
Abortion.
You don't. We say abortion.
Abortion is a part of reproductive rights and healthcare.
You work on the etymology of words and saying that, oh, they're using different words to support.
Yeah, because we use the word fetus.
Yeah.
We use the word embryo.
But that is a fetus.
Because you didn't once come from a fetus or embryo. You once were one, just like right now you're an adolescent.
when we were, though.
Fetus, embryo, zygote,
Yeah, I was also a bunch of
infant,
cum
newborn.
before.
It's
That
a
doesn't mean
stage
it.
of life. No, you keep saying this is a fetus. This is a human being that's a member of our species that's alive, that's in the fetal
You guys
stage
only
of
tend
life.
to care about unborn lives, never living children's lives.
Exactly.
You guys
What?
never care about living children's
What?
lives.
Excuse me, do you know me? Have you had a conversation about
No,
what I
you guys
do?
argue about unborn
Oh, yeah, just
children, but
making
you
an
guys do
assumption.
not have. Hold on now.
Hold
You guys
on.
don't ever have a platform to talk about living children's lives.
Here,
You guys don't
Please
fight.
go to standing with
Do you fight for the
you
foster
will
care
find more
system?
than- Yes,
Do you
absolutely.
fight for the foster-
Yeah, absolutely. I've written laws to
I don't
reform
want
the
that
foster
to
care
be.
system.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the resources for women and families in crisis pregnancy that I spent money fundraising and I spend money promoting.
And what about your
foster
laws
care.
Then please focus on advocating for rights
Why
for
can't I do
children.
both?
You cannot do it for both because
Why can't I do both?
Nobody wants to have abortions.
But they
there
do.
are countries. But
they
do.
have them. Democrats
because
are pro-abortion.
pro-choice.
Democrats are 100%
No, they're not.
pro-abortion because
no one is
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden
Advocate
can't
for the
name one
living
abortion they
children now.
oppose.
Advocate for the living children
now.
now.
So you're discriminatory. You think certain people should be
certain
advocated
people.
for versus others based on their location.
We're discriminatory.
Based on their age.
We are not being discriminatory.
Why we say advocate for living children now? The child in the womb is alive. The child in the womb isn't dead. Please tell me you know the child in the womb isn't dead.
It's definitely
The
not
child in the womb
conscious.
is living, right? It
It's
has a
definitely
heartbeat.
not living.
Cells are
It's not
multiplying.
in this world.
Growth
It's
is
not in this
happening.
world.
It's metabolizing food and energy.
Like cows and pigs and chickens also.
Yeah.
Are you vegetarian?
No, because I believe that human beings.
Isn't she wearing leopard?
If you want to do a Peter Singer philosophical approach to this, I'm a speciesist. I believe human beings are higher ranked in the animal kingdom. If I was not a speciesist, if I believed human beings were at the same level as a cow or chicken, then I would have to be a vegan.
But the general consensus for why humans are so elevated is because we have that level of consciousness and awareness.
Exactly.
Cognitive function.
Well, we know a child in the womb at 12 and a half weeks, according to New England Journal of Medicine, can feel great pain. That's what we say for consciousness. That's the end of the first trimester. I'm sorry you've been lied to and told by the abortion industry.
I haven't been lied to.
That you need abortion.
Hey
guys,
you have
check
your
this
opinion.
out.
I have mine.
You guys have some questions, you can come to the Q&A at 7 o'clock over here. In the meantime, thank you guys for your opinion and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys later.
We're going to go invite the protesters to hopefully come in and listen to my presentation or ask a question in a calm, reasonable format. Fingers crossed. They also have a condom pinata, so I've never quite seen one in person. I'm kind of interested. And a bounce house for adults.
Is the pinata shaped like a condom or is the pinata filled with condoms? Or both?
The pinata is filled with condoms. I'm surprised it's not filled with dildos or something like more crazy. My question is what 20-year-old gets into a bounce house? It's more of like a child's thing. Oh my gosh, it's a pink bounce house. I know, like when can I go in the bounce house?
Kristan, what is this?
It's a celebration of me being on campus. They threw me a bounce house and a condom pinata. It's all in celebration of me. I don't know, where is this pinata? Where is the condom pinata?
It's right there from the tree.
Oh my gosh, it's a condom pinata. Yeah, he's pro-choice. Did you see that guy? Where do you want to get pictures from? They're going to surround me. What? Where do you want me to back up?
Just give a little bit of space, please.
What? Am I not allowed to be in here?
You're allowed to be here, please. Just back up a little bit.
Oh, okay, I'll stand right here.
Yeah.
You guys can ask any question you want. Hi! I let anyone ask any question they want before I speak. Are you guys coming into my speech?
No.
I came out here to invite you all to come in. You can ask any question you want before my speech starts. Yeah. If you all want to come into my speech, you can ask any question you want. If you're pro-choice, you can come ask any question you want before I even give my presentation. So I'd love for you all to come in and ask any questions you have. I feel so popular. They all came out for little old me, the 5'3" West Virginian. If you all want to come into my speech, you can ask any question you want before I give my talk. It starts at 7 o'clock. Any question you have about abortion. First time I've ever seen in 18 years, a condom pinata that they're going to hit later and get condoms, probably condoms from Planned Parenthood, which are the lowest ranked by Consumer Reports. I've been out here inviting the young people to come into my talk and to ask any question they want before my speech begins, but I don't have a lot of hope. After being on campus for a few hours today, there's not a lot of intellectual thinking on this issue, but this is what it's like in one of the top colleges in America right now.
Thank you so much for showing up today. My name is Lauren Song, and I'm the president of Students for Life at UNC. It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker tonight, Kristan Hawkins, president of Students for Life of America. Kristan has spent more than 16 years building a national network of more than 1,400 student-led groups in more than 50 states.
So just be mindful.
She has launched key initiatives to mobilize pro-life activists, such as the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities and StandingWithYou.org. Connect young families in crisis with nonviolent overexposed. Kristan has her own weekly podcast called Explicitly Pro-Life, where she interviews leaders such as Alveda King, Dennis Prager, and Charlie Kirk. She has been featured on Tucker Carlson Tonight and regularly appears in the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, and NPR. As a frequent speaker and media analyst, Kristan's expertise includes abortion, feminism, disability advocacy, and healthcare as she navigates the social conditions and public policy that impacts the human rights issue of our day. While we progress with our event tonight, I ask that everyone respect each other's views and act civilly. Again, I want to thank everyone, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, for being here. Your views and opinions matter, and we in no way are belittling or shaming for them. We are here tonight merely to exchange perspectives and gain a greater knowledge of both sides of this issue. If you want to speak with either me, Kristan, or any of our other pro-life members one-on-one after our meeting tonight, please feel free to reach out. I know everyone here has a personal story as to why you're pro-life or pro-choice, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So without further ado, please welcome Kristan Hawkins.
I need a stool. Well, thank you all for coming out. I know I had a stiff competition with a bouncy house and a condom pinata. That's a first. I mean, you guys throw quite a welcoming party for people like me. Who would have thought a 5'3" West Virginian would inspire such a great welcome? So I was taking pictures and sharing it with all my friends. So thank you for avoiding the condom pinata. Maybe there'll be some leftover condoms from Planned Parenthood, which by the way are the lowest ranked from Consumer Reports out there for later, but don't use them. I would definitely get something better. So I want to begin my presentation, explain to you why you should join me in the pro-life movement, why pro-lifers are against abortion. It's actually very simple. People tend to think it's confusing or nuanced. It's not. It's black and white because there is right and wrong. I'm going to explain that to you, and then I'm going to go to the 5 common ground reasons why I feel like pro-lifers and pro-choicers should join us in the pro-life movement. But before I go to those 5, I'll pause, and if you're pro-choice, you can come up and ask a question before I even get to the 5, because I know sometimes people who disagree don't really want to listen to a full presentation, so I don't want to keep you on the edge of your seat the whole time. But I do want to explain to you why I'm anti-abortion. I am anti-abortion because science proves every abortion ends the life of a unique, whole human being. 96% of biologists agree with this fact, 85% of whom are pro-choice, 95% who are actually PhDs. I believe all human beings are valuable and should at least have the very right to be born, the right to life. Therefore, I'm against abortion. It's really that simple. Every abortion ends the life of a unique, whole, living member of our species who's no different than you and I, and every human life is equally valuable. That is what we believe in the pro-life movement, whether it's a suction device, a pill that starves a child nutrition, a Sofer clamp that locks on and dismembers the child, a needle that delivers a drug that causes a cardiac arrest, a heart attack. We know abortion is a violent ending of a human being because someone else, a privileged, stronger person, decided that they were too much of an inconvenience to be allowed a fundamental freedom. So, before I get to my other 5 common ground reasons why folks should, I believe, just join us in the pro-life movement to end abortion access, I'd like to ask anyone who's pro-choice, not if you're pro-life, sorry, if you're pro-life, you have to sit. You can ask questions later, but if you are pro-choice and you were courageous enough to come and not do the bounce house for a few minutes, I want to honor that commitment that you made, and you can come and ask me any question you want. You have a question? You've been making a phone call. You've been calling an abortionist?
Yes, ma'am. We're from, we came up here from Wilmington, from the Students for Life group there, and we have a friend, Jake, who really wanted to come and wanted to ask you a question. Are you willing to try talking to him on the phone?
Sure. Let's see if I can hear
Okay.
it. Yeah, Pons?
Say something.
I'm like sick, that's why I can't read that. I'm sorry. Hey, so my question is I'm just gonna go based on your last response to the last question. You're against eugenics, right? You think eugenics is bad?
Yes. I would hope you are too.
Okay. So I have an unrelated question, and then I'll tie the two together. Do you think that that incest being illegal is a good thing, that we should keep that?
The incest being illegal is a good thing. Yes, incest should be illegal, and rapists, whether they're raping members of their own family or people they've never met, should be in prison for the rest of their lives.
That's not what she said. I can't.
Well, she says yes, incest and rape should be illegal and they should be in prisons.
Okay. Is she aware that any argument against incest is an argument for eugenics? So saying people shouldn't have incestuous relationships because of genetic defects is the same reason. That's a eugenics argument. Is she aware of that, or is that?
No, eugenics would be that eugenics, sir, on the phone, would be saying a girl has been raped by her father, her uncle, family member. Incest has happened, and because she's pregnant, we should kill that child because that child could be born with disabilities.
So I'm not sure what rape has to do with this. I'm talking about incest, not rape. So I'm not sure what you're talking about here.
I was answering your question, dude. Just put on mute. No, eugenics would say that certain human beings shouldn't be able to reproduce, right? That was the goal of the eugenics movement. There's positive eugenics and negative eugenics. Negative eugenics is forcibly sterilizing. Positive eugenics is, this is funny. Positive eugenics is just using marketing promotion, essentially. But once conception has already occurred, just put him on mute. Once conception has already occurred, that does not give us the right to kill a child because the child has been conceived in incest and may have genetic defects. My children have genetic defects. That does not mean they are less of a human being. But yes, incest should be illegal because we should not be encouraging people to rape vulnerable children and their families.
Did you get that?
Can you say everything she just said?
What?
I can't hear him. He's done.
She said that nobody dies in incest, or
no, just stop. Just hang on. No offense, but you're butchering my statement. Good try on the pro-choice. I like that. I've never had a phone a pro-choice friend moment. I actually kind of like it when there's more pro-life arguments. Like phone a pro-choice friend and let them ask their questions. Does any other pro-choicer have a question, or they want to delay? Come on up. Come on down.
Because if you're wrong about the moral status,
Yeah.
right?
What
Then you have
happens
made.
if I am wrong? If
You
I
have-
am wrong about abortion, what have I spent my life doing?
You have spent your life forcing millions of women to carry fetuses that they did not want to term, undergo incredibly strenuous effects, even of normal pregnancies.
Things
That's
that their
not
bodies
easy.
are meant to do to keep our civilization alive. I have forced women to continue their pregnancies of human beings
Increase
that keeps our civilization alive. That's, if I'm wrong about abortion, that's what I have done.
So
if I'm right about abortion, I have spent my life stopping the slaughter of innocent human beings. I'll take those odds any day.
So I can
go to sleep comfortably at night with those odds.
As can I. I can use morally inflammatory language too. My point is...
What's morally inflammatory? Slaughter of innocent human beings?
Yeah.
Are they human beings?
In my mind, it depends on where the line is drawn.
Are they members of our species? Are they Homo sapiens?
Sure.
Are they alive?
Sure.
So they're humans?
Yes.
Okay. So innocent, they're obviously innocent because they don't have consciousness, so they don't have capacity to do right or wrong, right? So they're innocent human beings.
So, but again, you keep going from humans, member of human species, to human beings. That's where I think we're at.
So you only use the word human beings. Okay, I'll say, are they innocent humans?
Innocent to me doesn't make sense to apply to a non-person. That's the issue. Like you're using
they are a person, but okay.
Yeah, no, I know. That's the disagreement.
Yeah,
so
I just think what you're arguing is a philosophical slippery slope that creates degrees of personhood throughout human history. As I said before, when we create degrees of personhood, when human plus something else equals person, tragedy always follows from that. We don't have to look far.
Okay. And I would just say...
Do you agree with me, right? Do you agree with me? Look at the Rwanda genocide, right?
Yes.
A group of people in Rwanda decided certain people, their neighbors, were no longer just as human as they were, right? They started saying they're cockroaches, right? Yes. The rhetoric, we changed the rhetoric. We use words like cockroach, but we use the word fetus.
Yeah.
Right?
So to me, that is so profoundly disanalogous though.
Why?
Because every single group that we have discriminated against and dehumanized to perpetuate those genocides, which I will absolutely unequivocally condemn, had this sort of basic properties.
First of all, it's not always condemned. There was a genocide that happened, extermination of about 1,000 people in Israel a couple weeks ago, and we called it decolonization. You had people on your campus openly protesting and praising decolonization, which was the mass murder of innocents.
I absolutely condemn Hamas. I don't like the Israeli government's treatment of Palestinians either. I'm not here to talk about that.
I'm just saying we use words to cover up what really happens.
Okay, and going back to what I was saying, right? So the issue is, right, I agree that those genocides happened, they were wrong, and we use rhetoric to dehumanize them. The issue is every single one of those instances, the group we're dehumanizing has a litany of properties that we just take for granted. We automatically assume, we attach to the words human or human being unconsciously through association that are not even remotely present in the zygote or in the fetus up until very late in the pregnancy, at which point I would agree.
Well, can you say child? Would you acknowledge the zygote, the fetus, the embryo is a child? Because you didn't come from a zygote. You know that, right? You didn't come from a zygote or fetus. You once were one because zygote, embryo, fetus. Look, you're like making funny faces. Embryo, zygote, fetus, infant, toddler, adolescent. Those are all stages of human life.
Sure. Yeah.
But why won't you say child? Why do you keep saying the embryo or fetus?
Because when we say child, in the instance in which we use it in everyday life, we are referring to people who already have a conscious experience. Even if in the case of really young children, it is a primitive conscious experience, we are always referring to people who have those brain structures associated with, again, that subjective perception to the ability to do very, very basic things. Not just respond to stimuli, but have an internal sense of what that stimuli is that are just not present at the times where I'm saying abortion is permissible.
I think you're wrong. I think that every human being at the moment of conception is equally valuable. And when you're talking about abortion, you're talking about pregnancy, there are 2 human lives that are equally valuable that are at stake. But thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.
And I want to ask if there's anybody else, we can talk about this later, you can DM me on Instagram later, who's pro-choice still has a question they want to ask.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. Is there any other pro-choice person who has a question? Go ahead.
You come to college campus because obviously you're very knowledgeable about pro-life apologism, right? And I'm using the word apologism as its dictionary definition because full disclosure, I'm a former pro-life person who left the movement after doing my own research into the topics.
What made you leave the pro-life movement?
it's very complicated, but like to put it like a long story short, I basically like did extensive like research into the science behind like conception and stuff. And now like while I'm still not like I mean, I don't feel like many people are like super gung-ho about like abortion or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, it's a medical necessity for some people. I also like grew up in Arkansas where like there are a lot of issues with reproductive health care. But frankly, what I want to get at is that I feel that like pointing a camera at unprepared college students who want to ask you a question of some kind, and then uploading that to YouTube with, I mean, I've seen the captions on the videos. There are things like, there was one that was like pro-choice student melts down under questioning. Like,
Those
yeah,
videos
I get
actually
that,
save
but, like,
lives and change minds. I've actually converted a lot of former Planned Parenthood workers who've watched the videos because what the videos do is, and by the way, it's kind of boring for me on most campuses because there's like literally 5 arguments for abortion. It doesn't matter if I'm at Harvard or Yale or a community college or high school. It's literally the same argument over and over again. It doesn't actually get any more nuanced. But the point is to expose the philosophical, illogical positions that abortion supporters have to take in order to own their position. Those videos change lives. Actually, I just came from a meeting. I got to meet baby Hudson tonight, about 2 hours ago, who's 1 year old, whose mother chose not to have an abortion after watching these videos on YouTube. And she told me during the pregnancy, even when she was considering abortion, she kept thinking back to these videos. So these videos do change minds, and they do save lives.
But couldn't you debate like scientists or people
We
who
can't.
are prepared?
We actually try in the pro-life movement to get debates with philosophers or professors, Planned Parenthood workers, other activists. They will not debate in the pro-life movement. And actually, your all's own newspaper years ago, you're probably still in elementary school, I'm dating myself, this was like 2008 or so. You all used to have a very active pro-life and pro-choice argument happening here on campus. And there was actually, I'll never forget because it was here at UNC, the article came out where it was basically told people, stop debating pro-lifers. When we debate pro-lifers, we lose. And after that, we actually saw like the pro-life group actually here died for a number of years. We had to work with students to get the group back and going. It wasn't as active as it had been before. So I think what we need to do in the pro-life movement is we have to keep pushing. We have to keep talking about abortion because when we talk about abortion, it's kind of written on the human heart that abortion is icky. And so when we talk about abortion and people have those icky feelings about abortion, even if they can't articulate it, it changes minds.
I guess I see that, but like it does feel a little bit exploitative to like, because obviously like we're all young here, right? Or like most of us are young here. And like I feel like a lot of students just don't think it through that this is going to be up on YouTube. Like this was a separate event, but I had a friend who tried to argue like pro-choice points at a different event and got majorly harassed online following the posting of the video. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like,
yeah, I get majorly harassed too. We
I
have asked multiple times when we release videos, do not harass the person in the video. That is not the intention of the video.
But when you're titling them things like, this person melts down, we like wreck this person, like we destroy their argument.
I'm really good at my job.
Yeah, it's like very clickbaity.
Yeah, I mean, I get millions and millions of people to watch a video about an issue, quite frankly, that no one wants to talk about. Most of our country would be very happy if no one ever talked about abortion again. Because let's face it, talking about abortion is not fun. Even if we're pro-life, even if we have all the facts, it doesn't make you the most popular person at the dinner party. But we have to keep talking about abortion because change only happens at the point of conflict. And how do we derive conflict in this country? By talking about the issue and keeping it at the forefront of Americans' minds that every single day, Planned Parenthood ends the lives of 1,200 babies, 365 whom are black. And no one talks about them. We give Planned Parenthood awards and act like they care about women when they're annihilating scores of future women every single day, week, and month. And if we don't talk about abortion, darkness only thrives in the dark. The way we end darkness is we bring it to light. Light is the best disinfectant we have to evil in our world.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, so I heard you talking about how birth should be free, And I've heard this argument so many times, but as a daughter of somebody from a third world country, I want to know your opinion on why you think birth should be free, because when you make things free, the long line of people waiting to give birth, it's going to make the medical care worse. Like in the Philippines, everybody becomes a doctor because of the mentality of, oh, I need a title, I need this, I need that. And the healthcare is so bad in the Philippines because of this mentality. So why do you think births should be free?
I think it's a good thing if everybody wants to become a doctor. The question is, what's the medical standards in medical school if people are becoming doctors and they suck at it? That's a different question. Okay, so
Yeah.
I don't even think that's like related to this argument. Why do I think birth should be free? I'm pretty progressive. I actually think that thank you to the one progressive person. I actually think that we have enough resources in our country to come alongside women and say, hey, if you don't have good health insurance to cover birth, and we are in a demographic crisis, then yeah, we should cover birth. Like, yeah, I would say that, because we aren't overpopulated. We're actually dramatically underpopulated, and that is our problem. And I don't actually think because birth is going to be free, you're going to suddenly have a lot of people like, yeah, let's hook up tonight and have unprotected sex just so I can get free birth. Like, birth's kind of painful. Gestating another human being is kind of painful. I don't think it's going to lead to more people having unprotected sex. What it could lead to is less people having abortions, maybe. I don't know. We have to study it.
Yeah, I just curious because my mom's from a third world country, and I know that when you do these things of making things free and covering things, we've seen that once.
Yeah, I would agree with you largely. Socialized healthcare sucks, right? Because we talk about free healthcare. Thank you, tell us it's the same person. When we talk about free healthcare, the question is what type of healthcare, right? And so, like I was saying, I have 2 children with cystic fibrosis. I don't have to look very far. We came here at University of North Carolina for a year and a half. My son was engaged in a clinical trial. He was one of 60 kids in the world to be on this drug that we were testing here at UNC. He was extremely lucky. He was on a drug years before other children in first world countries with socialized medicine. We had to fight so hard. I don't even know if some of the kids in Scotland still are on the drug. This is a first world country, not to mention third world country. So I would agree with you largely, socialism kills, and it can kill in the form of bad health care. But I do think we are in a demographic crisis, and I do think it will save children from being aborted. So I think we can throw $1,500 to a pregnant woman if she doesn't have good enough private health care to cover birth.
Thank you.
I love it. You were mad at me because I was too liberal. I love it. Take that one for the bank.
I had a question related to the story that was kind of just released with Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. How kind of your views on that and how that's possible, how that comes to happen, that a woman is forced into.
Yeah, I mean, misogynistic men who get to decide they want to use a woman's body for pleasure. And then when there's natural consequences of that, I'm not ready to be a father. Should have thought about that before you had sex with a member of the opposite sex. That's what it is. It's immaturity and it's selfishness. I want to gain pleasure how I want to gain it. And then when there's a logical consequence of my seeking pleasure, then I get to decide if another human being lives or dies because I'm busy building my career. That's selfishness. And I don't know, if I was Justin Timberlake, I would come up with a good PR strategy because he sounds like an asshole to me.
Matt, another quick question for students at UNC who are in Students for Life. When we were out there earlier, I was spit on and I had water thrown on me. I was just wondering.
You were spit on?
I was 3 times.
Why were they spitting on you?
I was just standing there. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Were they wearing a mask and then pulling down the mask to spit on you? Sorry.
It was the students who posted on your Instagram story, the one who said he was a Satanist who wanted to eat babies.
Oh, and the one who wanted to sleep with my father? Who wanted to fuck my father?
He would eat my children. I was like,
yeah,
I don't have children.
We're making that video and I'm sending it to my dad.
Yeah. I was just wondering how...
Oh, also that was funny because there's 2 white people sitting on chalk that said preborn Black Lives Matter. And I think if you're going to organize a protest, which was absolutely crazy, why does words on chalk scare you so much you have to put your butts on the chalk? But then if you're going to do that, I would not put white privileged people on the chalk about Black preborn lives matter. Just saying.
Okay.
It's not good optics.
Yeah. But my main question was like, how are we supposed to go about that? Like, while we stay respectful and to like approach these people when they're just like completely closed off to anything we have to say.
Well, I mean, I think you keep doing what you're doing, educating. I think, half your time on campus needs to be asking questions about how do we transform the environment at UNC so no woman ever again feels like she has to choose between life of her child and her education. That's really should be, bipartisan work. I think that will cause a lot of people to maybe stop. They won't maybe reconsider their view on abortion, but they'll probably hate you a lot less, or they should. And I believe the John Maxwell adage of people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think pro-lifers, we're not really good at this sometimes. Like we support a whole social safety net, more than 3,000 pregnancy resource centers and maternity homes. The abortion industry does zero. And then people come to me like, you don't care about women. Cite your damn source, okay? That doesn't make any sense. So I think half your time is spent trying to transform the campus experience here, and then the other half is having conversations. Now, obviously, my speech title is designed to get people to come out, Karen. Yeah, it's a little inflammatory and people get pissed off. But actually, I have found we have to do that, because if I would put a title like, come hear a pro-life person talk against abortion, people are like, yeah, I don't care. I actually have to make people actually pissed off at me to great expense to my husband's sanity on the DMs on Instagram, the comments in Instagram, to actually want to come hear the pro-life message, to plant a seed of truth. But I think you keep doing that. You just keep doing what you're doing, having conversations. Obviously, people are going to be crazy. That guy was crazy. He said he wanted to eat babies. He wanted to rape my father. He was a Satanist. Whatever. I mean, he was obviously saying things because he wants attention or is a depraved human being. We can't save everybody, but we can certainly try.
Thank you.
Last question. We're gonna shut off the lights.